Welcome to Week 8 of Northern Shield Academy. I am Ausper, and this week I'll be going over some skills that can enhance your gameplay, and I'll talk about ways to improve outside of playing the game. Let's hop right into how to be a good teammate while you're dead. There are a couple things you can do to still help the team. The first thing you can do to assist the team is ping the spike when you're trying to defend in post-plant. When the enemy is retaking the site and about to defuse the spike, more times than not, they will try to defuse while holding angles, waiting for you to swing and attempt to kill the agent defusing. But more importantly, they will be using smokes to block your line of sight, then start defusing. Now, if you're alive in this scenario, you're going to be paying attention to your screen, watching abilities thrown at you, or trying to take these gunfights. There's very little time for you to figure out exactly where the bomb is planting, so shooting the agent defusing the spike is going to be a very difficult task. If you're the dead person, hold open your map and ping the exact spot of the spike for your team. Now your team has the exact position of the spike and where they need to aim their crosshair to start shooting. To add on top of this, a dead person on the team is the only person on the team that can hear more than one person. By swapping who you are spectating, you can gather as much information as you can. You can listen for the sound that the spike makes when someone's trying to fuse, then you can start pinging the spike. The next thing I want to talk about is all the information you can gather by holding the map open and trying your best to retain the information to relay to your team. What I mean by this is because you're dead, you don't have to worry about movement, crosshair placement, your own ability management, whereas if you're alive, you have to think about all of those things. What I'm getting to is if it's a 4v5 and you're the person dead, hold open the map and start tracking things for your team. For example, the enemy team is attacking a site, but we can only see 4 enemy agents going towards that site. You can relay this information, but by also saying something along the lines of, we haven't seen Cypher yet. This tells your teammates that Cypher could be lurking or Cypher could be flanking, but the purpose of you saying that is to let your teammates know not to keep their guard down and be prepared for Cypher to maybe be in a spot that will catch you off guard. But we don't have to limit to gathering information of the people not on site. When you walk in and out of a smoke, your icon will appear for a very small amount of time on the minimap, assuming you have vision of them. And sometimes people just don't see the small details when playing. But if you have open your minimap while you're dead, you can focus on the small details that can help your team win the round. Let's now move into some things about movement. The first one is probably the most important, which is air strafing. Air strafing is a mechanic where you jump while moving, while simultaneously moving your crosshair in the certain direction, and also pressing the corresponding strafe key. This is what it looks like. Now, why would anyone do this? This is for information gathering. You do this so that for the brief time your crosshair points in the direction of the choke point, you can look at the minimap to see if any enemy icon appears. You have zero intentions of taking the fight. You simply do this to quickly gather that information so that you can act accordingly. You also do this because if someone is there holding you at head level, waiting for you to jiggle peek for information, they don't get a headshot because you're jumping and gathering the exact same information. Go into a custom match and practice this. Here, I want to know if anyone is in garage on split. I hold W, and as soon as I jump, I hold left while also moving my crosshair left. You may have to do this a bit to get used to when you should jump and strafe. The next thing I wouldn't consider advanced, but I feel like it's important, which is walking and peeking. Walking and peeking angle only gives the potential enemy that's holding that angle the advantage in that gunfight. The only reason I can think of why you're walking and peeking the angle is because you want to be silent. But I would highly recommend getting to the corner tight, then quickly peeking it. You're able to run for a short distance before the sound of your footsteps actually come out, so you can peek a corner fast without being heard. But the most important reason why you don't want to walk and peek is because if you're peeking slowly, the enemy is going to see your shoulder or your gun before you can see them, so you're giving them a little bit more time to react and start shooting. Now let's talk about playing with your teammates. Now, it should be common sense to be playing with your teammates and around your teammates' abilities. In the grand scheme of things, your abilities help you a lot, but you could be doing a lot more when you have another person utilizing your abilities as well. If you're trying to take a spot on the map or trying to retake a site, for example, you don't use your abilities while you're alone, then solo push something. With that, there's high risk, high reward. Whereas if you wait for your team to be ready before using your abilities, there's more low risk, high reward. Easiest way to explain this is with Breach. When Breach wants to flash, he has to pull up his flash, shoot it, then swap to your gun and wait for the animation to be over. If you were to flash someone and they were to get hit, you would waste a small amount of time pulling up your gun and pushing your own flash. But if you flash for your teammate, they can peek with no loss of time of the enemy being flashed. Continuing with Breach as an example, his flashes are long range, meaning you can sit pretty far back and flash through a wall from a pretty safe distance. Combine that with a duelist that has the abilities to play aggressive, you turn them into an even more of a threat because you're now giving them support. Obviously, there are a lot more agents that can assist your teammates. I just wanted to emphasize the fact that your teammates are also able to utilize your abilities, sometimes even better than your agent can. The last couple of things I want to talk about are the things that you can be doing outside of playing in your ranked games to help improve yourself when playing Valorant. The first thing is VOD reviews. I'm a strong believer that VOD reviewing is the best way to improve yourself as a player. If you're able to record your gameplay, whether that be for a round, a clip, or ideally the entire match, watch it back and evaluate it. The important thing about VOD reviewing is being able to go back and relive the match. You could be thinking, I wonder why we lost that round. What could I have done better to win that round? What should I have done differently? These are all these baseline questions that you should be asking yourself, and then critically think about the events that happened that led to the result of that round. There is a lot of specifics that can happen in a round, but your job is to evaluate. Was it actually random for that person to swing you and kill you? Or were you actually silent when approaching that spot? Or did you actually aim at his head? Did your teammate actually kill you? Again, there are a lot of specifics to go over, but you need to strip away the situation and boil it down and figure out everything that happened in that round that led to that result. Sometimes, in fact, there was nothing you can do, but if you die, don't automatically chop it up saying that there was nothing you could have done. Actually analyze the situation, then you can chop it up to there was nothing you could have done. Next thing is getting a secondary perspective on your gameplay, like a coach or an analyst. Even when you go do your own VOD review, you may have missed something, or you may have come up with a solution about how to approach a problem that could have been wrong. Whereas just listening to someone else propose their solution or even agree with your solution can help out even more. It's important that you're taking advice from someone ideally with more experience than you do, but sometimes you don't have access to those people, so you need to take what they say into consideration and try to understand why they are proposing a solution, and again, critically analyze it, then you can decide what you want to do with that information. And finally, dry runs and scrims. This is typically for teams that are trying to improve together, but we can take a couple things away from these things. Dry runs are you or your team jumping into a custom game and practicing your different setups. Teams will have a handful of strats for every map on paper, and to make sure everyone is on the same page, they hop into a custom game, and in prep phase, they call for a strat, and they all go to their positions and set up all their traps and make sure it's all done before round starts. The thing we can take away from this is hopping in a custom game and mess around. If you're a sentinel, practice how fast you can set up all your traps and make sure you're able to do them before prep phase ends. And another thing, if you're playing Raze, for example, and you want to practice double satchel jumps, there you go, just hop in a custom. It's better to practice them in a custom rather than in your comp game. As for scrims are just when two teams face each other while practicing their strats to see if they will use that strat when it comes to game day. Participating in scrims is really valuable experience. You get to see how other teams play and how they play together, and you can get exposure to tips and tricks that maybe you've never seen before. But the most important thing is that everyone in scrims are there to improve and they will play to win. That's all for this week. And as always, if you haven't done so already, follow us on all social media at @NShield Academy. And you can follow myself on Twitter at Ausper4. And if you have any comments or questions, please ask away in the Discord. Thank you all for joining us in our 8-week academy.
Hey guys, it's week 8. You have survived the intense gaming academy. Congrats. We hope you had fun and enjoyed your time with the coaches. We certainly had fun with you. In the following week, we will announce the winners based on points, attitudes, design, and more. Our grand prize is the AMD Ryzen 7 Armory PC, fitted with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 graphic card and upgraded with FireCUDA solid-state drives, sponsored by Canada Computers, AMD, and Seagate. We hope you're the lucky winner, and we know you'll make good use of this PC. We thank everyone for joining the Academy. Look to see you next time.